Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Serious about business.
Business Access TV is here at the JSC Core Competencies to Excel as a Corporate Secretary. I'm your host, Andrew Laidley. Please stay with us.
I wish to welcome you to yet another workshop, Corporate Secretaries Workshop. As you know, we have these workshops each year, and the reason we continue to do so is that we feel that we should be at the cutting edge of any changes that is occurring in whether locally or globally. We feel that the workshops have been beneficial to us so far, and that with each day when we have these changes, we should continue to look at educating the persons in this industry. This morning and this workshop is very special, as we will be hosting, it is being hosted in association with the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators. And as we move towards introducing the Corporate Governance Index, I think today is especially important so that we can see how this can be incorporated into what we do as company secretaries and others within the industry. It is especially important that we look at this to see how our companies will score higher in terms of corporate governance. Today is intended to be a very good workshop based on the persons who will be presenting. So I invite you to stay tuned, ask the relevant questions, and ensure that when we leave here, we can implement what we have learned.
The Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators is an institution that certifies secretaries, chartered secretaries, and I believe it is the only institution in the world that does that. It's incorporated by Royal Charter and has its base in England, London, England. And our dear leader, Simon Osborne, is the CEO of the Institute of Chartered Secretaries. In Jamaica, we have the Association of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators, which is a branch of the Institute of Chartered Secretaries. Today, we are very happy to be hosting this seminar with the Jamaica Stock Exchange, and I hope that what we present today, you might find something to take away from it, because we are going to try to give you something practical that you can use in your everyday life.
Governance has to suit each jurisdiction. One size cannot fit all. Even within a peer group of companies engaged in similar activities, similar business, because the dynamic is going to be different, because the business conditions are going to be different, the governance framework will necessarily be different. And as you comply or explain, also within a peer group of companies doing the same, broadly the same activity, you will find that they comply in different ways. And that's the beauty of a code of principles. So what do we mean by governance? The Cadbury definition, the process by which an organization is directed or controlled. The other perceived virtue of corporate governance on the part of politicians and policymakers is that it leads to increased opportunities and choice for all. Now that's one of those wonderful glib expressions that rolls off the tongue of a politician. And it sounds wonderful, doesn't it? But what on earth does it mean? As a political aspiration, it's great. Opportunities and choice for all. Hurrah, yeah, we'll all vote for that. But can we really expect corporate governance to deliver such an overtly political objective? I'll leave that one hanging in the air. Poor old Bob Diamond, he gets a bit of a caning over this one. He did actually say that corporate governance is not how you behave when you think no one is watching. He did actually say that. But I think it's a good reminder that, there's no point trying to do one thing, say one thing and do another. That sort of hypocrisy, you'll get found out eventually. The truth will always out. Governance is concerned with the exercise of power, the role of directors, the responsibilities of shareholders, and how those are balanced. And it also deals with disclosure, transparency, accountability, internal control, and making sure you avoid that concentration of power in too few hands. Hence the desire, it's now become standard, certainly in the UK. America's finding it harder, but actually separating the roles of chairman and chief executive so that you achieve a more constructive tension at the top levels in the C-suite. What are some of the governance hot topics? Well, I don't know what it's like here, but remuneration in the UK never ceases to amaze me. I mean, and the way in which non-executive directors serving on remuneration committees aren't smelling the coffee, I just don't get it. But and the United States is just as bad. And what that is leading to is remuneration which is detached from performance, or levels of remuneration, detached from performance, are just leading to increasing inequality of wealth. And I think that could lead to unfortunate consequences socially. And it's something that has to be tackled. Hot topic. Legal risk has risen up the scale of corporate risks. The whole board diversity thing, gender is a major factor. But there is no doubt about it, board behaviour improves the more women join the board. And I know that from my own experience, funny enough, in a charity where I was deputy chair and I chaired the nomination committee. And I had to wield the knife. I removed 6 older male trustees, brought in 4 ladies, all of whom were younger. The average age came down. The speed with which business was transacted improved. Shorter board meetings, I'll drink to that. Made a difference. Now that's one example, but I think there's no doubt about it that I think the presence of women in boardrooms adds beneficially to the decision-making process. You've got the whole responsible capitalism issue, the managing of stakeholders and accountability to wider stakeholders. And that, interestingly, has led to the appointment of a committee now for a code of governance for private companies. I think that's long overdue in the UK. When you think about some of the bigger private companies, and I'm sure you've got them here, if one of those collapses, the impact on the economy and on the government could be significant. And then the whole question of board evaluations. Following the financial crisis, ICSA did some work on boardroom behaviours, the conclusion of which were 4 uncomfortable truths. Well-run companies can make strategic and sometimes catastrophic misjudgments. Risk management not properly overseen, monitored or reviewed by the board. Often it was just left to the audit committee. It's a board responsibility, is oversight of risk. Remuneration and incentivization not aligned with shareholders' interests, and a failure to inform stakeholders, not just shareholders, stakeholders, sufficiently. That work we did identified 3 areas needing attention. Institutional. Are corporate governance policies and architecture fit for purpose? Has management installed adequate processes and systems? And are directors exhibiting appropriate behaviours? So we had there the institutional, the organisational, and the behavioural. Now, we identified in that work that good practice boardroom behaviour was characterised by those 9 features. So clear understanding of the board's role. The board is there to oversee the management of the business. The board is not there to manage the business. And non-executive directors forget it's a case of noses in, fingers out. They smell the state of the business, they don't finger it. Does this business pass the smell test? Once the non-executive directors start interfering in the management of the business, it's very hard to hold an executive to account. You can't. You've syndicated the responsibility and the liability. Appropriate deployment of knowledge, skills, experience and judgment. So what balance of those have you got on the board? Independent thinking. Assumptions and established orthodoxy need to be questioned. Challenge has to be constructive. If people come onto a board full of suspicion or just trying to show off what a tough guy I am, I'll show these executives up for a load of incompetent idiots. If that's the mentality which a non-executive has, they're asking for trouble, because it will just lead to tension, in fact conflict on the board. Non-executive directors have to be constructive friends of the management team. Can't overemphasize that, constructive friends. Yes, and it's knowing how to challenge in a way which doesn't put people's backs up. And it requires a skill, emotional intelligence for a start. Yes, there has to be rigorous debate. The decision-making environment has to be supportive. There needs to be a shared vision. And for the chair, it's vital to close each item of business in a timely way, not let it go round and round and round ad nauseam. That's not the way to do it.
We go to a short break. More when we return.
Take the guesswork out of improving your IT infrastructure. The field of IT changes so quickly that it can be hard to plan a strategy while keeping up with technological advancements. Yet, without a strategic roadmap built on data-driven insights, your staff can be overworked, spending excessive time putting out technical fires instead of focusing on strategic tasks that fulfill core business needs. Our IT consulting services are the first step towards transforming your enterprise IT and improving your business efficiency. Our experts have the industry experience and best-in-class tools to methodically assess your entire support operation. We look at your IT support services holistically, identifying improvement areas that will have the greatest impact on employee productivity, service levels, and customer satisfaction. Need help improving your infrastructure uptime? Contact us to discuss a solution that will provide you greater productivity and efficiency. Email info@dodgen.global. Website https://dodgen.global.
Welcome back to BATV's coverage of the JSE core competencies to excel as a corporate secretary.
We are now going to have a panel discussion, as you will see, and members of the local chapter will be participating, and Mrs. Henry Pottinger is going to be the moderator, and they're going to be talking about things that happen in a very practical way.
How rewarding is your job as a company secretary? Any tips that you can give to budding company secretaries, people who are waiting in the wings to take over your jobs? For me, I enjoy my job. I will not work anywhere else until I retire than with KPMG. As to rewarding, yes, it is rewarding in many respects. I like to see that the people who I work with, they are enabled, they are eloquent, they can answer questions from shareholders, they deal with matters like that with alacrity, and they are very responsive.
It's not glamorous in the sense that if the reward you're looking for is your name in lights, it's clearly the wrong profession for you. So I'm glad that Liz actually said the word enable, because you are an enabler. You're a facilitator. You know, we all understand, certainly after listening to Simon this morning, the importance of corporate governance. Well, all of that falls on your shoulders for you to administer. You pull it together. You keep all the moving pieces going in unison, and you don't, there will be no name in lights, certainly not where I operate for that. So if that's what you, but it can be, obviously it's very rewarding in other ways. Just in terms of tips, I can't stress enough, well, there are two main things I'll say. One is that just you have to have a high level of administrative capability, and whether that, and obviously you can't do it on your own. So whether it means an internal team or going for external support, you have to be extremely organized, and you have to make sure that you create a lot of systems which allow you to ensure that you comply with all the requirements that you have, which are numerous. Other than that, I can't stress enough the importance of what we keep calling soft skills, but they're not soft at all, because they're critical for the role. Definitely, there's a higher level of judgment and diplomacy and management of relationships of people which is involved. You know, we talked a little bit earlier about the relationship between, the tension between management and the board, which can sometimes exist. And in that case, your role is critical, because you really are the diplomat who has to kind of navigate those two relationships and those two different sets of roles within a company. So that there's no, I can't stress enough how important it is to make sure that you develop your relationships and that you manage personalities.
I recall some years ago I did a document for my chairman, and you know, I went to him and I'm explaining to him what it is that I'm doing and what it is that he needs. He says to me, where I must sign. So it gives you that level of confidence and trust, and to ensure that what you're doing and what you're presenting is correct. And you must build up that whole self-integrity so that, you know, it is not questioned. And I feel that if I have to take something to somebody and they ask me, so where is this or what is that? I do my own self-assessment, because when I do a document, it says where, what, when, why, who, and so forth. So I ask myself those questions so that, you know, you can develop that trust when you're working with somebody.
The job is really very, very interesting. The things that come across your desk are amazing, dynamic, invigorating, challenging. Scope is very, very diverse. Corporate governance has really taken its hold, rather, on Jamaica and within the Caribbean. There is just so much that we have to learn and offer to our clients and to ourselves. Certainly, if someone is looking at this as a profession, I think corporate governance is the way to go. That's just me personally. You will always assist and help your clients, you know, but there's always a nuance on what has occurred, what should have been done, and how we're going to correct it. And that's what I love about it. And working with PwC and my team, we have just so much to do. You've got to be very structured, lists, and more lists. You have to be very detail-oriented and be able to pick up, and very meticulous, and be able to pick up errors very easily.
In my role as a corporate secretary, the reward for me is I am constantly learning. Every day there is something that I didn't know, or something now that I have to go and know. And it is no 2 days are ever the same. Especially in our company, which we tend to be very entrepreneurial, the ideas come, and as a company secretary and as compliance, I have to research to say, can it be done, can it not be done? Would this be in breach of anything? I would also advise that the regulators are good allies. You know, from where I sit, I call them a lot because I need their guidance. They are more intimate with the laws and regulations and how they interpret what I am asking them to just bounce things off. So I would ask you to use them up. You know, the company's office, the stock exchange, the Bank of Jamaica, the FSC, they're all very open to questions. No one has said no to me yet. Even if they don't know the answer, they'll research it and get back to us. And our real success lies in having a great team behind us, including KPMG. And
Thank you.
and our team in Dormrep, Trinidad and Jamaica that supports me, because we just could not do it alone.
Thanks a lot, ladies. I hope then that those of you in the audience found something informative, instructive, that you can take away from this panel discussion.
Coming up after the break, what companies need to know about the Corporate Governance Index.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters.
Call us at 876-291-6233 or 876-376-4225. Email sales@batvja.com.
Hi, it's Novia MacDonald-White, Senior Associate Editor at the Jamaica Observer. And guess what? You are watching Business Access Television.
Welcome back to BATV's coverage of the JSE core competencies to excel as a corporate secretary.
So what is this corporate governance index that we have been talking about? And it really is a tool that has been developed to measure how all entities that are listed, at least surely for us listed on the stock exchange, how it conforms to various established corporate governance principles. Now, typically, the index has a numerical value, right, where the extremes of the values are overall good and poor. And also, it assists in improving the transparency and ultimately FDI for countries. Because research has shown that countries and surely listed companies, like using the stock exchanges that have a corporate governance index, especially when there's not very strong regulatory environment for them to operate within, the corporate governance index has actually helped to create greater investment opportunities. And what the research has shown is that countries with the indices have shown significant growth in corporate governance practices. So let's talk a little about the corporate governance index in Jamaica. And the index has been developed by the Jamaica Stock Exchange. As I indicated before, it's the first for the Caribbean region. The process that is being utilized is that it's going to be automatic, so that whether you're listed on the junior market or you're listed on the main market, you are going to be assessed using the index manual. So the purpose of the index, as stated by the Jamaica Stock Exchange, is to first of all periodically measure listed companies' conformance to required corporate governance principles and practices. It also should help to give companies an opportunity to differentiate themselves from other companies, because while all companies are listed and expected to be guided by certain principles and certain rules and certain legislations, you can differentiate yourself by the score that you probably will get based on the fact that you are adhering to a number of these principles. It will also provide a benchmark by which other parties, external parties, locally and internationally now, can gauge companies' adherence to corporate governance practices.
Every year, we have a workshop for the corporate secretary because we realize that they are an integral part of the corporate governance and effectiveness of publicly listed companies, whether it's on the junior exchange or the big board. And we were fortunate in that the head of the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of the UK was coming on a visit to Jamaica to meet with the Jamaica Stock Exchange, because we are in the process of representing them in providing training and continuing development for corporate secretaries, persons who want to be corporate secretaries, and as a matter of fact, there is an upcoming fast track that's going to be available for attorneys and chartered accountants who invariably are performing the duties of the chartered secretary, and what it will allow them to do is to have the formal chartered secretary designation. So we felt that this was very important to continue to lift the profile of the chartered secretary and their role in listed companies.
I thought the conference was excellent, actually. The seminar was excellent. It touched on very important aspects that are critical for the development of our businesses within Jamaica and internationally, and for our companies, concentrating on corporate governance and the amendments that have just occurred in the Companies Act and why corporate governance is so important. So I encourage everyone to be at the next seminar.
The governance is here to stay. There's no doubt about that. And it's the proportionate application of governance principles which is so important in all types of organisation. But in order to be able to do that, every organisation needs to be clear about its organisational purpose. Then the board, the directors, need to be clear about the key values by which that purpose is going to be delivered. Only then can you devise a governance framework for your particular type of organisation. Every organisation, however big, however small, needs to do that.
Who does corporate governance benefit again?
Obviously, it benefits the companies themselves, it benefits their shareholders as the owners, or if it's an unincorporated body, the members. But it also benefits wider society. I think that's the important point. Their employees, those with whom they do business, and ultimately it benefits the government, because if an enterprise fails and is employing people and it fails because of poor governance practices, the ultimate responsibility financially was going to fall on the government. For example, in social security payouts for unemployed people. I think also if companies fail because of poor governance, it doesn't reflect well on the country. And for a country that is trying to entice inward investment, if the governance framework isn't up to snuff, as we say, then that could have a potentially negative effect. So good governance, it just makes sense. There's plenty of anecdotal evidence too that good governance enhances reputation. It also, for organisations, particularly commercial ones, reduces the cost of capital. It just makes sense.
That's it from us here at the JSC Core Competencies to Excel as a Corporate Secretary. I've been your host, Andrew Laidley, and thanks for tuning in to Business Access TV. Serious about business.
The Good Life, your weekly dose of information on nutrition, wellness, and fitness. Discover ways to nurture your mind, body, and spirit.
My name is Herbert Chung, Executive Chairman, Co-founder Spannable 1982 Limited. You're watching Business Access TV. Serious about business.
It's another episode of Jamaica Magazine. In today's show, we continue our fight against COVID-19. Don't move, I'll be right back.
Practice good hygiene by washing your hands frequently using soap and water. Here's how you should do it while conserving water. Turn on the tap to wet your hands, then turn off the pipe. Lather your hands and the tap with soap. Turn on the tap and wash your hands back, front, and in between fingers. Use some of the water to wash off the tap, then turn it off. Dry your hands with disposable hand towels. If you don't have running water, use a hand rub containing 62% or more alcohol. If hand sanitizers are not available, rubbing alcohol, Dettol, white rum, or household bleach will do the trick. And if all else fails, let hand washing and the handling of potable water be a two-person event. Each person will take turns pouring and washing hands with sitting water. Now is a good time to consider installing a tap on your containers to reduce the risk of water contamination. Faucets can be easily attached to drums, buckets, or 5-gallon water bottles. And to ensure that the outside of the containers are clean when recapping, disinfect it with hand rub containing alcohol that's 62% or more. The 5 R's of water conservation are also necessary to practice. Reduce water wastage by investing in water-saving devices. Reuse water at least twice before discarding. Replace leaking pipes, faucets, and other plumbing equipment. Recycle wastewater and use it for gardening, car washing, or cleaning of public spaces. And reclaim water through rainwater harvesting. We all must play our part to ensure there's water to combat the coronavirus and stave off prolonged drought.
Persons 75 years and older must stay at home, subject to exemptions that are to be specified, and this will take effect on the 25th day of March 2020 for 14 days. All public sector workers 65 years and older are to work from home, subject to specified exemptions. That will take effect on the 25th day of March 2020. Schools are to remain closed from the ending of the last order to the end of the Easter term. Every person who entered Jamaica as at the 18th of March 2020 must be quarantined for a further 14 days after the initial 7 days expired. For a period of 14 days, with effect from the 25th of March, gatherings in any place shall not exceed 10 persons.
We are also seeking to establish some facilities around the country the public health infrastructure is divided into regional health authorities. There are 4 such regions, and we need to identify facilities, 600 rooms. And these rooms are rooms that have to have a bedroom with a bathroom. Okay, so it has to, so an individual can be relatively isolated or isolated. So we need 200 such rooms in Sarah, which is this region of Kingston, St. Andrew, St. Catherine, St. Thomas. We need 200 in southern region, which is Manchester, Clarendon, and St. Elizabeth. 100 in western, which is Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, and Westmoreland. And 100 in Nera, which is St. Anne, Portland, and St. Mary. What we're looking for is a transition house, if you will, halfway house, if you want to term it that, that would allow them to be isolated, to give them appropriate care while they recover.
The ban that was placed on the visits to infirmaries have now been moved from the original date, which was 14 days, to now 30 days. And the ban on new admissions have been pushed to 60 days. The ban on amusement license will be in force for an additional period, and also the opening and closing of markets, the hours will remain from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. We have not forgotten, ladies and gentlemen, the outdoor poor, which number some 14,000 across the country, and especially with an age group of 60 and over. The Poor Relief Department will be distributing care packages to meet the needs of all these areas, and this program will last for a period of 3 months, commencing on March the 30th. Also, there is 3,000 students who falls under the portfolio of the Poor Relief Department that will receive lunch on a daily basis. With immediate effect, the local authorities will be providing care packages on a daily basis for all persons living on the streets across the country. We will provide facilities at our drop-in centers, and we will be providing for them over the next 4 to 6 weeks on a daily basis a care package along with at least 2 meals on a daily basis.
The National Solid Waste Management Authority, NSWMA, wishes to advise the public that the Mandela Park in St. Andrew is closed. This is in adherence with government's restrictions on gatherings in public spaces. The halfway tree-based park will be closed until further notice. The NSWMA will continue to closely monitor the announcements of the Ministry of Health and Wellness to make decisions in the best interests of the citizens of Jamaica.
The Ministry of Education is partnering with several private and public sector stakeholders to provide educational content to students even as they are kept out of school due to the coronavirus outbreak. In our next feature, we share details on some of the online resources that are available to students free of cost.
As part of efforts to ensure there is no wide-scale spread of COVID-19 in Jamaica, government announced an initial 14-day closure of schools, which began on Friday, March 13. The classrooms are now empty, but learning has not been abandoned.
We will be making provisions to enable online training or continued education online.
"180 teachers have been trained to deliver lessons to students through the web-based one-on-one communication learning management system. The Education Ministry has made resources available to students from kindergarten up to grade 13. A detailed list of online digital learning resources have been compiled and shared with all schools. The ministry has also partnered with several educational providers to deliver content for students at all levels of the education system. These include Book Fusion, Learning Hub, EduFocal, and Cheetah. The online platform Book Fusion Limited exposes children to a host of free ebooks. The website allows students to read ebooks on the primary exit profile PEP, biographies, history, literature, and math, just to name a few. The Learning Hub Online is a Caribbean-based online test preparation website. It offers tests on all subjects pursued by students in grades 1 to 13. It also has hundreds of interactive PEP, G6NAT, CSEC, and CAPE test materials for each subject offered. EduFocal is another partner of the Education Ministry. The innovative social learning platform combines study with play. While students are at home, the platform is offering free virtual lessons led by PEP master teachers. Study guides, tutorial videos, questions and answers, and examinations are also offered on the site. Cheetah, or Connect to Higher Education Electronic Tools, Apps and Help, is offering free PEP workbooks to students in math, science, ability, and language arts. The small corporation also creates unique educational resources for the pre-primary and primary levels, which include tablets, apps, toys, headphones, tablet accessories, and books. Outside of these partnerships, steps are being taken to liaise with other private and public sector stakeholders.
We have been in contact with Flow, and Flow will also be making internet availability readily accessible to persons on our platform so that they can continue with their education.
The ministry is also in partnership with the Public Broadcasting Corporation of Jamaica, PBCJ, and RJR Gleaner to deliver live and recorded educational content to students at all levels of the education system. The programs will air on PBCJ Mondays to Fridays from 7:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. with rebroadcasts on the weekends. On TVJ, it's Mondays to Fridays, 9 a.m. to midday.
25 community channels have also been brought into play, and the children now have gotten so accustomed to that kind of interaction with their teachers and with the educational system that it's going to be challenging when we have to return to the classroom, because they're doing very, very well. We have a 70% coverage across the island, and the other 30% where we don't have access to cable and to internet services, we do it physically, manually.
To properly carry out a hand rub, apply a palmful of the product in your cupped hand, covering all surfaces. Rub your hands palm to palm. Rub your right palm over the back of your left hand with interlaced fingers and vice versa. Rub your hands palm to palm with fingers interlaced. Rub the back of your fingers to opposing palms with fingers interlocked. Rotationally rub backwards and forwards the clasped fingers of your right hand in your left palm and vice versa. Once your hands are dry, they are now safe.
Schools are closed and you're seeing more of your children. I get it. The idea of being cooped up with them all day can be daunting or overwhelming. But there's hope. In a moment, we will share a host of engaging activities for your children while they're at home. Structure and regularity are good remedies for manufacturing calmness in times of distress. So here's a structure for a child. Let's start with creating a schedule that lays out time for study, chores, eating, of course, fun activities, and downtime. Incorporate new gaming activities into your child's routine, like puzzles and game boards such as Monopoly and Ludi. Charades and ABC Fast and Slow, Chinese Skip and Jump Ropes are also entertaining games that have the added benefit of getting them moving so that they're exercising without even realizing it. This works better for younger children. They are attracted by a range of colors and experiments. So how about you engage them with some drawings and paintings, bringing their artistic sides to life? Creating science projects is also a good way to work the minds while engaging your children. Music is perfect to get the young ones up and engaged. Plus, there are many studies suggesting that learning music helps children with their academics. Some musical games to explore include karaoke, musical chairs, and musical trivia. This is also a good way to teach them about their rich musical heritage. This may be the perfect time to teach your children how to prepare their favorite meals. If they already know how, then all the better getting expert hands on board. So here's the plan. Get a cookbook and get them involved. This could make them feel that they are making a valuable contribution to the family. As a parent, you'd already know the value in exercise and working out, so how about encouraging your children to create a workout routine, do some yoga or dance routine, and keep them moving. It might not be such a bad thing to allow your children to keep in touch with their peers or friends and keep a strong support network. If they wish to call or text friends and families, let them do so. Just monitor them. Socializing helps to regulate your mood and stay grounded, and that's as true for children as it is for adults. Some of these activities require the involvement of a responsible adult, but for those that do not, monitoring is still important for safety. Remember that different activities apply to different age groups, so ensure that you check on them in between all their playtime activities and ensure that all is going according to plan. Also, remember you can split the monitoring work between parents and/or older siblings. One parent or older sibling can monitor the children in the morning, while another person takes over in the afternoon. With that said, all the best.
Are you aware of how Jamaican adolescents use social media? What do they do online? What do they post? Do you know if they are being harassed? These are questions you should be asking yourself because it is your duty to keep your children safe online. Parents, here's what you need to do. Be active online and offline. Help your child to set up his or her online profile. Make sure you familiarize yourself with the different social media applications that they use and set some rules. Protect our nation's children and save them from cybercriminal attacks.
The Education Ministry, through its free PEP app and website, is preparing students in grade 4 to 6 for their upcoming exams. The sites provide general information about the PEP program, subject information, curriculum question samples, and resources links. Here's more.
The primary exit profile PEP performance task tests have been postponed. These exams would have fallen within the 14-day school closure period announced by Prime Minister Andrew Holness on March 13. Though classes are no longer in session, the Ministry of Education is ensuring that students are being adequately prepared for the upcoming examinations.
So certainly all our PEP examinations, workbook, practice activities, those are all available on our website at the Ministry of Education and Youth to enable us to continue with education.
On the Ministry's website, moey.gov.jm, parents and guardians will find links to the Ministry's official PEP website. Parents, teachers, and students may access the website free of cost at www.pep.gov.gm. moey.gov.jm/PEP. The online platform offers PEP facts, exam schedules, resources, sample items, summary reports, and publications. The PEP mobile app was also created to offer support to students, teachers, and parents. The app can be downloaded on all Apple and Android devices free of cost. It provides some of the information from the PEP website and gives general information about the PEP program. It is also loaded with subject information and curriculum question samples. The PEP website provides meetings, workshops, and seminar schedules, as well as links to other online resources that offer PEP support. These include online sites such as GoGSAT, EduFocal, and Cheetah. In addition to providing the much-needed PEP app and website, the ministry has also prepared PEP Camp workbooks for electronic distribution. A PEP hotline has also been activated to answer questions and offer psychosocial support.
We'll also be sending out physical booklets, hard copies of different work material, so that those students who do not have readily internet access, that they can also be able to do their practice. We have been in contact with Flow, and Flow will also be making internet availability readily accessible to persons on our platform so that they can continue with their education. And we will continue to monitor the situation. We'll continue to be guided by the Office of the Prime Minister and also by the Ministry of Health in this matter.
It is fair to say that the children are not being disadvantaged in any way, and in fact are doing extremely well. And although we have been faced with some challenges with respect to communications and so forth, we are very confident that next week is going to be even better. But I can assure you all that as far as we are concerned, this action by us has been a resounding success to date.
The Cheetah, or Connect to Higher Education Electronic Tools and Help program, is a small corporation that is partnering with government to provide unique educational resources to students. It targets those at the pre-primary and primary levels. And here's how Cheetah is transforming the lives of young Jamaicans.
The cheetah is known all over the globe as the fastest land animal in the world. But right here in Jamaica, there is a special type of cheetah that is not only known for its speed, but also for its unique relationship with students across the education system.
So our company name again is Cheetah. It's an acronym, Connect to Higher Education, Electronic Tools, Application and Help. So I thought it was more appropriate to definitely have a mascot, a live mascot that symbolizes our company. Our students have really liked it in terms of we have done dancing contests. So a lot of times we could see, how can you dance better than a cheetah. Okay, so here we go. Are we ready? Are we ready? All right, let's start.
In addition to, and arguably more important than its engaging cheetah mascot, this self-funded informal charitable arm donates numerous educational content and electronic tools to selected schools across Jamaica. These institutions are chosen on a needs basis.
So the tools include some of our books. We have a lot of books that we have created. Some of them are already on the ministry's book list. Like for instance, we have a book, Not Another Me, which coincidentally aligns with the Ministries of Education theme about who am I. And it's a great book in dual language, Spanish and English. And the words of the book are lyrics to a song. And it's a nice reggae song, I'm a cheetah. And I searched all over and could not find another me. That's one of the many books that we have. And then we also have even our dancing cheetah toy, and I have him right here. Children love him, and so we have our books, we have our toy, we have our tablets.
We got approximately 80 tablets from the Cheetah project. We have been using those tablets for almost 2 to 3 years now, and they are helping us tremendously in reading and in mathematics. Students are now encouraged to use IT in their studies, and I'm quite certain when the students leave Norman Gardens for high school, they are going to be well prepared where technology is concerned.
I think it helps with the students so that they can learn how to do different types of addition, subtraction, multiplication, and other topics in math.
There's no way I know I could do it on my own. It's a big collaborative effort, and so I needed other persons to be on board with me. And so the first person I called was the person who I've interacted most, Ministry of Education. They have purchased most of my tools throughout the years.
The ministry has been in partnership with Cheetah Toys, as the company is called, since 2015. It has been going exceptionally well. She has also supported us in terms of scholarships for some of our students, and she's also participating in the development of PEP questions, working with our curriculum and other education officers. And last year, she actually did some GSAT preparation sessions for selected schools across the island.
The measurement for this line is what? 180. Now that I've drawn a line right here, what is the measurement for this side? 90 degrees. What is the measurement for this side? 90 degrees. Good. So you're going to pray, and you're also going to do proper planning and preparation, prevent poor performance.
So what we're trying to do overall is just to inspire the children, to encourage them, and also to give them some of the tools that we believe will help them to excel. So we want to also be considered as a teacher's helpers. We're not going to go in and do something entirely new. We want to work in collaboration with the teachers, recognize what they need, and see how best we can help to facilitate them.
And I know the question you've all been asking is, why the name Cheetah?
I've always loved the color cheetah. I'm wearing my tie today, but I usually love the print. And then later when I've done the research, I found that cheetah is so different. It has made a name for itself. It's the fastest of all the land animals. So I think that the cheetah has a lot to offer. And I think like cheetah, the students that we're trying to impact, trying to inspire, they could also make a name for themselves.
By now, you should have all heard the good news. The Ministry of Education is providing nutritional support to students on the PATH program during the period they are out of school. Nutrition Products Limited will be preparing snacks, which include baked products, fruit juices, milk, and water for students at the primary and secondary levels. The ministry is also looking at collaborating with select food suppliers, supermarkets, and other major retailers to distribute food packages. These are just some of the steps being taken by our government to ensure that the needs of all Jamaicans are taken care of and that our island home will remain the place of choice for persons to live, work, raise their families, and do business. And that's all the time we have for you today on Jamaica Magazine. Thanks for browsing with us. Before you go, do remember that you can rewatch today's program on our YouTube channel and website. That's at jis.gov.jm. Don't forget that you are also able to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram for the latest news and information. I'm Theodore Henry. Walk good.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.
I started out selling out of the trunk of my car.
If everybody think the same way, everybody going in the same line.
Being an entrepreneur takes everything that you've got. Weekends? What's weekends? We work on a weekend. There are real opportunities everywhere you look. But you have to have the passion.
If I do my part well, then everything is okay.
We believed in ourselves and our families believed in us.
Being convinced of this great opportunity, why we are all here doing what we're doing now.
watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Business Access.
Business Access TV.
Serious.
Serious.
Serious about business.
The Mona School of Business and Management hosted its 4th business conference at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel, and Business Access TV was there to bring you the highlights. Stay tuned.
Welcome on behalf of the Mona School of Business and Management to our 4th biennial conference. We're here to discuss delivering on the promise of entrepreneurship, and it is critical at this juncture that Jamaica in particular and the rest of the Caribbean, having gone through all sorts of structural and fiscal and monetary adjustments, these are necessary but not sufficient. And entrepreneurship is clearly one of the ways in which we will capitalize on a more robust financial platform that we have. And today we'll be looking both at research and examples from the Jamaica, the Caribbean, and the global audience. In that context, I would like to welcome all our visitors and presenters who have come from the Caribbean, the USA, and Europe, and I'd like to thank you for attending. We look forward to having very interesting conversations over the 3 days, and as has been our custom, to have generated research and publications arising out of the conference to advance knowledge. Our goal is to provide a link between the academy and the business community in a more direct way than other faculties and departments at the university. I therefore welcome not just this interaction between the school and the wider community, but we hope to use it as a springboard for even better partnerships.
I've noticed that the title of the opening plenary is Entrepreneurship, Innovation and Growth, Unlocking the Potential in the Jamaican Economy. So I presume that within that is the message that entrepreneurship and innovation have something to do with growth. And it's a fair assumption. And that is perhaps why we are being told by the Economic Growth Council to unleash our entrepreneurial spirit. We are being told by the World Bank to become more innovative. We're told by various members of the political directorate to take more risks and invest in newer areas. So it would appear that there is a growing perception that there is, in fact, a link between entrepreneurship and growth. The Private Sector Organization of Jamaica and the Jamaica Bankers Association are finally reaching out to small and medium-sized entrepreneurs to get them to formalize their operations. So all of this is good. I think there's an energy that is starting. Unfortunately, that has happened before, but there is an energy that's starting that we need to keep going. And we need to understand that, or figure out whether it is a magic bullet or it is the beginning of a new paradigm that must be adopted by all of us across the board in order for us to secure mature development as a nation, as a society. I think we need to take a look at the historical context of our country so that we understand not only where we are or we got here, but we can try and use it to map where we're going. But before I do that, I just wanted to give a commercial plug for the efforts of the Jamaica Bankers Association and the member bankers for the initiative to allow access to finance and to encourage access to finance for the SMEs and the medium-sized businesses. It's important for us to understand that the current definition of an SME is a business entity having between 1 and 50 employees. and an annual turnover of less than $150 million. So that is the spectrum of enterprises that we at the PSOJ and the JBA are trying to capture. And the aim is to bring greater awareness of this SME sector to the extremely numerous and detailed programs that the government's access to finance agenda has established since 2016. And also, we want to provide input and support for the adoption and the expansion of the access to finance program across most of the stakeholder sectors through a process of education, facilitation, and familiarization. So the project has two streams. It has the access to finance stream, and it has a reverse factoring program, which is being developed in conjunction with the BBJ to enable small businesses to better manage their receivables. Cash flow is extremely important to small businesses, and we need to assist them in their management of it and in their collection of their debt. So the hope of the program is to foster better relationships between the banks and the small businesses, to simplify the credit processes and to make them easier and more transparent for the small businesses. We want to train the MSMEs, which is the term, in formalizing, regularizing, and structuring their business processes and to allow them to unlock additional capital to allow for their business expansion.
So as we contemplate how we can deliver on this promise of entrepreneurship in the Caribbean region, in our own Jamaican nation, I invite us to consider those factors which may possibly be standing in the way of us unlocking and unleashing our entrepreneurial potential. As a region and as a nation, we have a reputation of being a creativity powerhouse. We pride ourselves in our ability to come up with creative, original new ideas, and we often proudly hail our national mantras such as Tanya Han and Make Fashion, which speaks to our creative national problem-solving abilities, which allow us to turn any obstacle into an inventive opportunity. Simply put, we are just naturally creative, imaginative, and innovative people. And throughout our history, as a region and as a nation, our creative outputs and our ideas have always garnered global attention. However, in spite of our creative prowess, we seem to have failed to translate our ideas into generating high growth, high worth, high impact entrepreneurial ventures. And so I ponder the question, why do we think that is? Why is it that as a nation and as a region, we have been a plethora of creators in our island, but a dearth of successful entrepreneurs? So to examine this question, I invite us to consider the distinctions between the definitions of creativity and entrepreneurship. Now, the Webster Dictionary defines creativity as the ability to make new things and think of new ideas that we do well. However, it defines entrepreneurship as an entrepreneur as one who organizes, manages, and assumes the risks of a business or an enterprise. I submit that this is the critical differentiator in this definition between who an entrepreneur is as opposed to who a creative is. In that an entrepreneur is somebody who has to and must take risks. This distinction between these two definitions is important because while we as Jamaicans are naturally creative people, we need to consider the question, are we naturally entrepreneurial? Are we naturally risk takers and risk makers, or are we risk averse? In the results of the indices from the Global Resilience Index, which ranks 130 countries around the world by the risk and resilience of their business environments, based on certain factors such as economic indicators, risk factors, and supply chain issues, Jamaica has consistently ranked in the bottom 30 of 130 nations in the study. This might suggest that our national distaste for risk is well-founded. However, if left unchecked, our risk aversion will continue to be our entrepreneurial Achilles heel. So why is it that as a region, we're such risk-averse people? Why do we shy away from risk? I believe it's in part because when we think about entrepreneurial risk, we tend to only focus on the downside versus the upside of risk. A close examination of the term risk suggests that it refers to the effect of uncertainty on meeting organizational outcomes. However, while the effect of uncertainty as an entrepreneurial venture can be both negative and positive, we often only focus on the potential negative effects of risk and uncertainty to the exclusion of the consideration of the positive potential opportunities which risk and uncertainty can also provide. In my opinion, an entrepreneur is someone who sees the future and then sets out to create it. However, creating the future means stepping out into the uncertain and the unknown, and stepping out onto the unknown is risky. Oftentimes, however, when risk-averse entrepreneurs think of the word risk, what comes to mind are only those potential dangers, threats, and negative consequences of undertaking a venture. What if I can't pay my bills? What if a competitor beats me to the market? What if I invest a huge sum of money in the business, but I can't attract enough customers to cover my costs? I submit that this is a flawed view of the concept of risk. To the contrary, as we seek to unlock and unleash our creative and entrepreneurial potential as a region and as a nation, we need to begin to acknowledge that risk and reward are two sides of the same entrepreneurial coin. Consequently, without an active emphasis on entrepreneurial risk-taking and risk-making, we will fail to see the rewards of generating high growth, high impact, high worth entrepreneurial ventures.
Just to give you a little background in terms of what the DBJ does. The DBJ, really, the focus as a development bank is to really improve the lives of all Jamaicans through development financing, capacity building, PPPs, and privatizations. DBJ's role in building the economy, in as much as Howard just mentioned that because of factors, the state has had a big influence on the economy. DBJ's role, the philosophy behind it, is really not to be competing with the private sector or to take the place of the private sector, but really to fill the gaps where they exist. And so over the many decades, DBJ has been involved in lending through the AFIs at affordable rates when interest rates were at sky-high levels. Putting in place collateral guarantees for good projects that did not have sufficient collateral to access loans. Things like Ignite program, grants for innovation, which now coming up with a reverse factoring, there is capacity building of our entrepreneurs. And the work that I'm doing, which really was focused on access to finance, access to equity finance through the Jamaica Venture Capital Program. When we established the VC program, the whole point was that we originally thought about it as being access to finance, but pretty quickly recognized that it was wider than just money. We had to be building the ecosystem. Everybody had to be ready for a market. Any market has buyers, sellers, as well as the infrastructure. We had none of those in Jamaica, so we had to be building that infrastructure. So it was really a multifaceted program that was developed, training and capacity building. Our fund managers or investors had to be trained, or fund managers or entrepreneurs, our lawyers, accountants. So there was a lot of training. We also put in place the infrastructure to build for our first funds to be started, as well as there are a number of legal, regulatory, and tax issues which have to be addressed. And most importantly, the entrepreneurs, the deal flow has to be there. So in looking at building an ecosystem, we had to be cognizant of, as I mentioned, all the various things. Who are the players? How are they going to be exiting the stock exchange? I know Marlene is going to be talking about that shortly. And entrepreneurship, as well as what's happening with the SMEs and what is the support infrastructure. And we took a lot of lessons. We didn't reinvent the wheel. We took a lot of lessons from what happened in Latin America as they were building their private equity and venture capital ecosystems.
Dalgan Global is an integrated multidisciplinary professional service firm in the Caribbean region. We are integrated as one regional firm and provide several professional services, including audit and assurance, advisory, tax, risk, and legal. Our advisory services focus on our clients' most critical issues and opportunities: strategy, marketing, organization, operations, technology, transformation, digital, advanced analytics, corporate finance, mergers and acquisitions, and sustainability across all industries and geographies. Growing your business through mergers and acquisition, raising finance, or looking to join public markets requires specialist advice. Doggin Global provide a full range of corporate finance services, from initial assessment of strategy through to deal completion. In-depth knowledge of industry sectors and markets provides valuable insight into specific opportunities and risks for your company. Our corporate finance specialists assist clients to develop an acquisition approach, identify targets or interested parties, instigate negotiations, and help conclude transactions. Our global reach allows us to provide advice and local knowledge to assist with foreign acquisitions and sales. How Doggin Global can help. If you're looking to sell your business or plan an exit strategy, Doggin Global can help you with initial preparation, valuation, and marketing to potential investors, negotiation through to tax minimization and investment planning. Doggin Global corporate finance includes business valuations, raising finance, financial restructuring, negotiations and vendor protections, IPOs or flotation, management buyouts or ins, key management incentive schemes, succession planning and development, preparing businesses for sale, exit strategies, contact information, website www.doggin.global, email info@doggin.global, Caribbean headquarters, Doggin Global, Doggin Towers, 4749, Trinidad Terrace, Kingston 5, Jamaica. Telephone 876-929-2518, 876-926-5210, 876-630-2011.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters.
Call us at 876-291-6233 or 876-376-4225. Email sales@batvja.com.
Career Moves has always explored interesting careers, highlighting all you may not have known about them. This season is no different.
Coming back to Jamaica, everyone's like, fizzy what? Fizzy who?
When you find a bright boy or girl in the class and people say, what are you going to be? The parents will say, you have to go be a doctor, you have to go be a lawyer. Nobody says you have to go be a politician.
Let me see your hands!
Tune in Tuesdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
So I just wanted to tell you real quick about the IDB Lab, just to put in context where we sit and what we are doing and how we could unlock the potential for entrepreneurship and innovation in Jamaica, even further than we are doing now. I like the way we started the panel. So we started off looking at the research, because research and development is very integral in all that we have to do as SMEs and entrepreneurs and when we're taking on innovation. We looked at the risk approach to it, smart risk taking. We also looked at our history, where we're coming from, because culturally that's still going to be ingrained in us. And then we looked at the capacity building and all the different elements that's needed. So I want to take you through unlocking that potential that's there and first introducing you to IDB Lab. So IDB Lab is a part of the IDB Group. We serve over 650 million persons across the world. We are a part of a group with IDB Invest. IDB works with the government. IDB Invest works with private sector, and then IDB Lab works with different corporate entities, civil society, NGOs, towards solving developmental problems. I'll go back to what Mr. Mitchell had said about inclusiveness. That's what IDB is all about. We are innovation lab looking at inclusive solutions for Latin America and the Caribbean. We create market-driven solutions. So we look at what the market is doing, what the needs are, where the gaps are, and we work along with the private sector to create those solutions. We also look for what we call transformative impact. How do we create what we call 10x impact, greater impact than we have seen before in the projects that we're looking to do? And we're very focused on vulnerable society.
This is the inclusiveness that Mr. Mitchell was talking about. Where does the poor and the disabled and those persons who don't have access to goods or services, how can we help to solve some of those problems, elevating those persons, improving their lives so that they can be contributing to the growth of the society? So I mentioned we work with private sector in creating these projects. They're the ones who are executing on the initiatives.
But I'm going to start with this slide, which is the JSE Market Index. And it is an index taken from Bloomberg yesterday, which really shows that point to point from last year, this time to this year, the market index has gone up by 61.76%. And that is showing you really the power of what happens when businesses are financed and the value created at each stage. So you can see that the index speak about companies and the value that has gone from point of last year to now is an increase of 61.7%. Year to date, 27%. I'm going to share a little bit with you as to why this could happen. But let us talk about the stock exchange group. We are 50 years today, this year, and what we did, we set out to ensure that there was confidence in the market by forming the Jamaica Central Securities Depository in 1998. And in order to broaden the services of the financial sector, in 2008, we formed the trustee division. And this is in order for persons to have confidence in the market when we talk about funding, when we talk about access to equity capital. One of the main pillars is confidence in the market. So the idea of the stock exchange is that we can raise equity, and that is, having shareholders in your company, but also debts can be raised on the market as well. And every once in a while, we do have some simple innovations that allow for markets to grow and for persons to get money and to grow their business. And so in 2009, we created the junior market, and which shows a collaboration between government and the private sector, which offers, because persons have asked what is offered to incentivize businesses to grow, to access capital. And we have the junior market where, with the government's collaboration, we have a 10-year corporate tax holiday. We also have the support of the depository, as I said before, and we are in 40 clients in 5 CARICOM states. So we are all over the Caribbean. What is our market performance? For the main market, we have 55 companies as at June, and 55 securities and 42 companies. For the junior market, because we have the junior market, as I said, as at June, we have 41 companies. So the companies have come to market and have grown, and representing 38 securities. And we do have a US dollar market also, and that is growing too. So we can see that people are considering as a credible option the stock market to raise capital. Why would you want to go public? Public, when you talk about going public, it's a serious situation. It is one of disclosing your business to all concerned. And many persons are reluctant to do that. But more and more, we are seeing, especially small and medium sized, understanding that it is not so bad. When you come to market, you get these various benefits, enhanced profitability and viability, and more about this company is a larger pool of well-run, profitable and compliant, because compliance is important. and there is a wider pool of investors. When probably 5 or so years ago, you had less persons willing to invest in companies that come to market. So you would have probably 20, 30 investors in any what is called an IPO. Now we have thousands of companies, of investors that will invest in companies. So for those persons who are business people, don't be afraid. Persons will invest in you if you have a credible idea and a good plan. We have seen on the level of the macro level that employment has increased, and it is a sustainable economic growth because of that.
Stop for a second and think about an incentive where you get 100% relief on your corporate tax for 5 years and 50% after. And you have in excess of 2,000 companies registered at the company's office. And we only have 40 since we have opened the junior market. It speaks to a bigger issue. So I have 3 minutes and I just want to touch on two quick things. That bigger issue is that significantly more education needs to be given to owners of these companies. We spend too much time trying to hide revenues, etc., in so-called getting a lower tax rate, that you're impacting the value creation, the revenue expansion of your business. So we need to find a way to get to more of those entrepreneurs, to let them understand that the more you open up your company is the more you're going to make. Because the tax rate is a percentage of a whole. So if that whole keeps growing, you will always get more than what the government is going to get. I'll touch quickly on the fact that, Neighbor does all these things. We take you from nowhere right up. We fund you with debt, we fund you with equity. The gains have been crazy. But I close by jumping into Audrey's space because I just want to make two fundamental points. I think sometimes we don't really focus on what really matters. So the biggest issue with funding in the country is a matter of risk management. So for example, people always say, why is it easier for you to get a car loan than for you to get a capital item loan? And it's very, very simple. There's a secondary market for cars. So when you get a loan, the bank has to ensure its principal can be repaid in the event you don't make the payment. So they'll quickly lend you against a car because if you default on a car, there are a billion people that are willing to buy the car on a second-hand basis. But that is the secret to true funding in this country. If every sector of the economy that you want to pump funding into, you can create a secondary market, that is where you'll start to get a lot of funding. Because with all due respect, all of you guys that want money, you don't want to lose money. I don't want to lose money. The facts say that 8 out of 10 of you are going to blow up the money. That's why it is so difficult. So in my mind, the solution is create an environment that if I will invest in all 10, but the 8 that blows up, give me an incentive. Because right now it's too lopsided. I lose everything when your company blows up, and the best, if I'm lucky, that I'm going to get from you is, Mr. Perk, you're a good guy. Sorry I lost all your money. But guess what? I have another idea. Can you give me some more money for that? It's not going to work. So I finally close by saying, to get these traditional investors to invest in you, you have to come up with a solution that mitigates the risk for them.
I'm 36. I'm a husband, a manager, and still very good looking. In 2 hours, I have the most important meeting of my life. But first, it's time to play. The new Suzuki Vitara.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters.
Call us at 876-291-6233 or 876-376-4225. Email sales@batvja.com.
Hey guys, I'm Candy and welcome to Chill Spot, Jamaica's ultimate leisure show. This season promises to reveal some of the hidden treasures of the lifestyle industry by taking you to the chill spots of some of Jamaica's most brilliant business minds, giving you a glimpse into how they choose to unwind and just hold a vibe. You won't want to miss what happens next. Stay tuned.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life. Highlighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life surrounds art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV.
So I'm here representing my company and partnering with the Mona School of Business and Management. We at Foswich went public just a year and a half ago. And I'm here to tell you about nuts and bolts, just a few things on the nuts and bolts aspect of going public. One of the fundamental things, a few fundamental things that we had to wrestle with is going public. What is the value proposition that we are bringing to the market? You know, the space that we are in is electrical lighting, and we made a footprint for us in the LED space, where that particular product, the LED product, consumes 20% of the energy that the rest of fluorescent and incandescent light systems would produce, would consume. And so we wanted Jamaica to be clear that we are we're going to be the ones to bring this value to each consumer. And so how do we bring that value to the consumer? When you walk into a store and you see an LED bulb or an LED fixture or something, being untrained, you do not know exactly the properties and how it works and so on. And so we decided, okay, we are going to have to develop a department where we give this information to you. So when you walk in, or when we call you, or when we visit you, we are going to teach you or tell you the features of using the LEDs and the benefits. And so that became a big part of the value that we brought to the market. We had to therefore acquire or employ engineers, and we call them commercial or engineers that can disseminate information in a forum that people can understand. And so we will have small meetings like these. We call them, industrial mingles, whether it be in Montego Bay, in Mandeville, in Kingston, and we invite 50 to 80 people, and we start talking to them. And before long, they start spreading the news of the value of the product that we were offering. And so we were now defining our way in the market. And in doing that, it gave us the freedom to feel more comfortable later on to go public, because now we were bringing the value that the other competitors were not bringing to the market at the time. And so you have to decide what is it you're going to take to the market. We were not manufacturing any products at that time, or we were not manufacturing them in Jamaica, because we had connections in Far East that we visited and we worked with them to manufacture them, but they were not being manufactured in Jamaica. So we wanted to set ourselves apart from the competition. So one, understand what is it you're bringing to the market and what value you give them when they are to use your goods or services before you are thinking of going public. Is my another thing, and Marlene and Gary touched on it, transparency. It is my wife and I are very private people before last year. We're very private people. Nobody knew anything about us. I mean, it was so difficult for us to open all of our accounting to our senior accountant. We used to manage it. But once we decided after talking about it and thinking about it that we're going to be going public. I do not even have the code to go into my accounts department anymore because you know put a system in place and you're not afraid of opening up your books or your business to the public. And so you have to decide that this is the way you want to go and that you're going to go in this way.
So I come to you to talk to you about transforming the world in the Caribbean with entrepreneurship, sustainability, and innovation. It's time to turn climate change challenges into growth opportunities. I want to start today by taking a journey with you. Just as I grew up as an only child in Kingston and migrated to the US in high school, think about your experiences and where in Jamaica you're from, where you lived, where you grew up, your family, and what those experiences were like, what you aspired to be, and what you were frustrated with. It is said that our upbringing and life experiences shape us, the way we look at the world and our perspective. I think about my upbringing, born in a family from the great and no longer forgotten parish of St. Thomas, and raised in a matriarchal household. I think about the days when my grandmother made soursop juice and mango juice every time I visited her. I think about those frigid cold showers and the smell of kerosene lamps, and during intermittent power outages, and buckets of water because of the water shut off. And the other things like how I still boil water to this day, no matter where in the world I'm from. I see potential innovation in the challenges in our day to day life. Sometimes we're missing ideas and solutions from what is right in front of us. Sometimes we accept what has been occurring as commonplace, but I encourage every one of you to disrupt this status quo. Use those challenges as opportunities for innovation. Steve Jobs said, if you're going to make connections which are innovative, you have to have not the same bag of experiences as everyone else. You're going to have to make connections, and then you won't be innovative. When you think of the most successful tech companies being created today, is either from Silicon Valley, Israel, Europe, or Asia. However, right here in Jamaica, we have exported our own brand of innovation through music, food, dance, etc., and even the pushback. It is our family experiences, the history of migration, our culture and diversity of our people that makes us special and unique. They are the ingredients for a new crop of innovations that can be utilized to address climate change challenges. I believe that sustainability and climate change is the business and economic opportunity of the century. The world is under a climate emergency. If we don't, in the next 10 years, if we don't reduce the temperature by 1.5 degrees, we will be in a serious catastrophe. According to the UN, limiting global warming means that 420 million fewer people being exposed to severe heat waves, survival of tropical reefs, loss of fewer plants and animal species, and the protection of forests and wetland habitats. Climate change affects every industry, but most notably health, agriculture, water, and food, water and energy. Because of the increased acceptance and the urgency, there has been a rapid increase of funding, governmental projects, and new startup innovations. The capital markets have also taken notice and are integrating environmental consideration, social impact, and governance into business and investment decisions. They are reallocating trillions of dollars to address this challenge. This is an enabling environment that presents an opportunity to create new products, new services, and solutions that will help and mitigate, adapt and mitigate the effects of climate change for everyone. Furthermore, because of the islands, because the islands in general are disproportionately affected, in some cases it gives us first mover advantage to innovate and create solutions in a small environment before scaling internationally. The time to innovate and take advantage of new business and social impact opportunity is now. We are currently feeling the effects of climate change. Last month, as many of you know, in Kingston, there was record temperatures. Kingston was not alone. In Alaska, the record temperature reached 32 degrees. In southern France, the record temperature reached 45.5 degrees Celsius. And it's just going to get hotter from here. As higher temperatures become more common, the demand for cooling devices will rise, driving the need for green innovation in this sector. Air conditioning is a twofold problem. It requires the use of more energy and uses chemicals that are harmful to global warming. There are hotter days coming, and there is both a need for new solutions and technologies that can keep us cool, but also reduce the effects of climate change.
Career Moves has always explored interesting careers, highlighting all you may not have known about them. This season is no different.
Coming back to Jamaica, everyone's like, fizzy what? Fizzy who?
When you find a bright boy or girl in the class and people say, what are you going to be? The parents will say, you have to go be a doctor, you have to go be a lawyer. Nobody says you have to go be a politician.
Let me see your hands!
Tune in Tuesdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Creating change. Building a future. Caring hands. Giving back. Touching hearts and shaping lives. Impacting our world for the better.
Hey guys, I'm Candy and welcome to Chill Spot, Jamaica's ultimate leisure show. This season promises to reveal some of the hidden treasures of the lifestyle industry by taking you to the chill spots of some of Jamaica's most brilliant business minds, giving you a glimpse into how they choose to unwind and just hold a vibe. You won't want to miss what happens next. Stay tuned.
I started out selling out of the trunk of my car.
If everybody think the same way, everybody going in the same line.
Being an entrepreneur takes everything that you've got.
Weekends? What's weekends? We work on a weekend.
There are real opportunities everywhere you look.
But you have to have the passion.
If I do my part well, then everything is okay.
We believed in ourselves and our families believed in us.
Being convinced of this great opportunity, why we are all here doing what we're doing now.
So today I will be speaking about Airbnb, which is very topical. The emergence of Airbnb in Jamaica and some of the debates and concerns that we have. I'm going to be pointing to what I consider to be a research gap and some questions, a very brief literature review, tell you a little bit about my methodology, what I found out, and some preliminary conclusions. I want to say that this is part of a larger body of work, and it's very much still in progress. So two things, forgive me if everything isn't there, and secondly, I really welcome your comments, which will help me to, I can utilize them as I go forward. All right, so these are some of the headlines that we see, that we have seen over time. I just went to our local newspapers, and you can see there's quite a debate happening. And this happens everywhere Airbnb goes. Very few people are neutral. They either love it or they hate it. So most recently, in the last week, we have had the issue of taxation come up, and the whole issue about how much are people earning from Airbnb currently. The last comment that really caught my attention was from the JHTA, Jamaica Hotel and Tourism Association, and they're saying, tax, because we need a level playing field. And what is in quotation there, you can read for yourself. But in essence, the JHA's position is that, look, these people are legitimate competitors to us, and we don't see why, if they are competing in our space, they shouldn't have to have the same, my words, burden that we have. So, what I have been noticing in this debate, there's a lot of talk, as I showed you the headlines, about Airbnb and home sharing. Airbnb, of course, is just one of the many companies, but it's a name that everybody knows. So, and it's what I'm actually focusing my work on. But there's a lot of stuff we don't know. For example, are they really unfair threats? Are they tapping into the same market as the hotels? Or are they just little people trying to make some extra cash? JHTA doesn't think so, that they're little people, but how much do we really know? Do they offer similar products? And in essence, it comes down to one question: what exactly are they doing? So I have some research questions that I will show you again in a little bit. But in essence, what I'm trying to understand is from the perspective of the host. So rather than going macro, I'm actually going to go micro, because hosts are the ones who make or break an Airbnb product. So that's what I will be looking at. So as I said, I'll mention these research questions in a little bit. But to just talk about the host, who is the host? Well, one definition says a good host makes his guests very happy, makes his guests happy while they're in his care. So that's in essence what a host would be required to do. But in addition to that, a host has a legal and moral obligations. So if some of us have studied hospitality law, and we know that coming back from common law, innkeeper's liability, and so on, you have the obligation to ensure that your guests are kept safe and healthy. But in addition to that, there's this moral code from many religions and traditions, meaning that you have to take the person in. In addition to that, in Jamaica, we have very strict legislation. And for a homestay, which currently Airbnb would fall under, there are 11 standards established by TPD, Tourism Product and Development Company, that have to be met. And they're currently looking at new legislation, they say. But currently, this is where it would fall. And hosts should also receive Team Jamaica training. B&B hosts, bed and breakfast hosts, are often lifestyle entrepreneurs, and that's a nice way of saying they don't necessarily do it for the money. There's a lot of romance and mystery associated with the concept of bed and breakfast. And the interesting thing with Airbnb is, it sounds like breakfast, bed and breakfast, and they're built on that notion, although they technically, they don't have to serve breakfast, and very few actually do. But remember that many of them are lifestyle entrepreneurs. And the services that they're expected to provide, they're very intimate, customer service oriented, personalized, and so on, because in many cases, you're coming into the home of the host. Airbnb now, what they say is almost anyone can be a host. That's what, if you go to their website, they will say that. But what you may not understand when you're following up on that, oh, I'm sorry, and they also say that there are 3 steps: list the space, decide how to host, and welcome the first guest. And that sounds really simple as 1, 2, 3. But in reality, each of those steps assumes a whole body of knowledge which everybody may not have. You have to understand how to market. You have to understand how to do your pricing according to the season, according to supply and demand, and so on. And of course, how to manage your property and to interact with guests.
This afternoon, I'm going to be presenting on Airbnb and delivering the promise of Airbnb, the promise of entrepreneurship to Jamaica. And as my colleague mentioned, Dr. Craig, about the whole issue of Airbnb, it's a very controversial topic now. To tax or not to tax, those are the issues. But today, for my presentation, I'm going to be providing and sharing some data with you about Airbnb's performance in Jamaica in particular. And please note that this is a part of a larger body of study. I'm actually studying Airbnbs not only in Jamaica, but also in Cuba and Cayman Islands and Bahamas. So the sample that you see me extrapolate data from is a part of a wider body of knowledge that is also currently ongoing and in process. So as you can see, it's the whole business of home sharing. So the idea is not lost upon us. And another thing that we want to drive home is that the whole notion of Airbnb is really not new to the Jamaican tourism industry, Caribbean tourism industry by extension. We've always opened our homes to guests. It's just the way in which we're doing it is different. And technology has created a platform that allows for greater access to persons who are also seeking this kind of intimate relationship and more authentic experiences. So we're going to get into, again, some of the controversy I also took from the headlines because it's so topical. And as you can see, there's so many issues coming out, how many guests we're actually welcoming, uh, where they're going, who are they staying with, to tax or not to tax. That's also a big question that is trying to be answered now. So it's very topical. But again, just to frame and contextualize it, Airbnb is it's a part of the wider sharing economy. And I love that term, as you mentioned, the Uber refutation, is it? Yes, fantastic. Because really that's what it is. It stems from these radical innovations that allow people to make extra money. That's really what it is. So I looked at the literature again from sources and what persons are saying about the sharing economy, which we're now a part of. And that is why everybody's trying to get their slice of the pie. So, Botsman in particular had mentioned that it's very hard for us to define in totality what the sharing economy is. However, Ryan and Botsman in 2017 and 15, respectively, looked at it from calling it a collaborative economy, the on demand services economy, the gig economy, the freelance economy. So, if you hear any of these terms, they're all used interchangeably. And basically, it refers to the sharing activity of underutilized assets with the help of IT-based technology. So it's nothing new. It's just again the platform in which we're presenting it is a little different. So, the main drivers towards this economy, how did it emerge and why are we here and why is it so important to us? The main drivers is basically consumer behavior. We're switching now from ownership to access. Now, I'm a part of a very unique group of consumers and producers called the millennials, and there are a few in this room. And we're kind of changing and shaping the way in which we consume things. So we're looking less to ownership rather, and more to access. And that is what is causing all these radical innovations to take place right across our landscape, and in particular in tourism. Now, the biggest success factors of the sharing economy is online reputation. And my colleague again, Anne Crick, also mentioned, the feedback system and rankings in terms of host and super host and all of that. Very important for us to look at. So these are some of the brands that come about under the sharing economy: Uber, Airbnb, Homestay, Lyft, WeWork, all of these, Craigslist, Couchsurfing, all of them are part of the sharing economy. So peer-to-peer accommodation, this is where people provide accommodation directly to consumers using a digital platform. And these are temporary stays in the homes. Airbnb in particular for P2P accommodation, most people call it Airbnb, but there are also other platforms that are very much relevant to us and is affecting the Jamaican tourism accommodation landscape: TripAdvisor, HomeAway, and also Booking.com. Now, just to share some data with you, globally, peer-to-peer accommodations There's 7% of total accommodation around the world, 8 million beds. It's estimated that the number of transactions that took place was actually 75 billion US in 2017. And the trends and findings, again, the millennials are the ones who are driving this form of innovation. And also, it is not limited to budget travelers. It's not just about cheap travel, but efficient travel as well. And it was initially for the leisure market, but we find from my studies that the business traveler is also another trending market. So for entrepreneurs who are trying to get into Airbnb, an aspect that you could look at in terms of growth is catering to the needs of the business traveler. So Jamaica, what is happening with Jamaica and what does it mean for us going forward? Jamaica was chosen as one of the countries for a pilot study by the World Bank in 2018. So they came to the Ministry of Tourism and they wanted to study peer-to-peer accommodations in the Caribbean, and Jamaica was the country chosen. But why is the World Bank interested in peer-to-peer accommodation? It is said that it can help to eliminate poverty, boost shared prosperity, and also its contributions for income generation for a broader group of people, in particular women, which I'll be looking at tomorrow. So in Jamaica, just to put things into perspective, there is over 5,000 active listings on Airbnb in Jamaica, 7,600 in total. So that's a recent statistics that's coming from Airbnb. So we have 7,600 hosts, 5,000 active, which means they're actually getting bookings and doing well. TripAdvisor Rentals also has 2,300 listings. HomeAway has 950 listings, and Booking.com has 1,124. So it's not just Airbnb, but it's just that Airbnb is one of the platforms that has seen the most growth throughout the years.
Thanks for staying with us for coverage of the Mona School of Business and Management's 4th Business Conference. You're watching Business Access TV, serious about business.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters.
Call us at 876-291-6233 or 876-376-4225. Email sales@batvja.com.
Have grown from 20 million US to now having 800 million US dollars.
Knowledge, skill, and professionalism. Those are my tools and my armor.
It's a big men don't cry, right? It's a big men don't cry, right?
We were being robbed some $531,000.
I've been angry to the point where I feel like I would get a bit.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life, highlighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life turns art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV.
The Good Life,
your weekly dose of information on nutrition, wellness, and fitness. Discover ways to nurture your mind, body, and spirit.
Hi, I'm Edmund Bartlett, Minister of Tourism, and you are watching Business Access TV. Serious about business.
My name is Henry Lowe. I'm the executive chairman of the Eden Gardens group of companies. Henry Lowe is an ordinary Jamaican man who grew up in a very modest family background, family of 10 children, a father who started off as a merchant tailor, got robbed several times in his business and had to change over to become a policeman in the municipal services. Of course, my mother, with 10 children, you can well imagine my mother had to be on hand to manage the family affairs. As far as I'm concerned, she's a minister of finance. She managed to care for the family of 10 children and to ensure that if there were wants, there were never needs. And if the needs came, she would get rid of those needs. People from Kingston usually say I'm from under the clock. I was born under the clock, yes, I was. And my father was from Gordon Town, which is just up the road from Papine, and my mother was from Cavaliers, which again is not too far, just Upper St. Andrew. And so I had relatives around. But in the early years, because of the size of my family, an aunt of mine, who we always lovingly called Aunt Dell, she was married to a policeman, and they had 2 children, and they were young boys, and since I was about maybe 5 years older, she wanted me to come to keep their company. So she asked that I come to live with her, and those were interesting days in my life because a number of things I can remember of interest. One is the fact that when I was in Port Antonio, where I started off living with her, it was at Titchfield, what we call elementary school at the time. And at Titchfield, like most schools at that time, children on a Friday had a choice of either doing gardening, dressmaking, or woodwork. And none of the 3 interested me, and most boys, of course. So we all decided that the best thing to do on a Friday afternoon when that came up was to, use the word skull school. Many people don't even know that word, but we would take off, and so we did. And there's a wharf by the old Titchfield Hotel, which was the hotel in Jamaica in those days, way back in the 50s. And this particular wharf, most of it got dismantled, but the piles were still there. And the leader of the pack, as it were, which was the smallest guy in the group, he said, let's just go for a swim at Titchfield. Now, as you know, if it's a wharf, the water would be very deep because boats and ships would come in. But when you look out, because the water is so crystal clear and nice, it didn't look like it was deep. So everybody said, let's go in and swim out. Well, I couldn't swim at the time. So I was carried out on this guy who was a leader on his back to the farthest point out. I wasn't afraid of anything. And since we know we shouldn't be out there swimming on a Friday, we should be at school, we know in those days the police would come and get us and take us home and we'd get whipped. So a boat was coming around, a speedboat, and they thought it was police. So everybody had to scamper to get out of there and leave before the police could arrive. So somebody called out, police, let's go. And everybody jumped off. I jumped off too. Not remembering that I can't swim. But it was one of the strangest sensations that I ever experienced, because I started sinking. I saw where the shoreline was, and I was trying to see if I could move forward, but the mass of water was so great that I couldn't move. And I was sinking rapidly, but I never took in any water. And they realized what happened to me, and one of them, the same guy, he came back and he pulled me out and took me, and I never swallowed any water, or it was just amazing. And believe it or not, although I didn't swim then, I learned to swim. I don't know how. Next time I went to the beach, I was able to swim. I think I was very quiet. I don't think I ever gave my parents any problems. I was well disciplined. I worked hard, and I knew what I wanted to do. What is interesting is that my parents always thought that I was going to become a lawyer or a minister of religion, and those two were farthest from my real interest. From the earliest time I can remember, I said I wanted to be a scientist, without even really understanding what science was all about. But you know, when you're a child, people always ask, what do you want to be when you grow big? And I said, I want to be a scientist. And in 1 year, what would normally be a 2-year program, I got a sciences and did so well. I got a scholarship to University of the West Indies, where I did my first degree. I got my scholarship to UW. I don't know, but I believe I might be the only Jamaican who has ever had a double Commonwealth scholarship, one to Australia, Sydney University in Australia, and one to Manchester University, where I did my master's and my doctorate. And I've been to some of the other best places like MIT and Harvard, and I've done, academically, I've had a full exposure to most everything. And my interest in science grew since I did well at university too, and having completed my first degree and my master's and PhD, I knew where I wanted to go. But one commitment I had always was Jamaica is a poor country, and a scientist cannot be over-specialized. Science is a discipline, and you must use that to do whatever you can for your country. And I had a keen interest in the natural products, the plants and the animals, and how they can be utilized to create wealth for the country, which is my mission, and that's where I am now. Drug research and development is not cheap. To take a drug from discovery, first stage of discovery, to market, it's usually between 1.5 and 2.5 billion US dollars.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters.
Call us at 876-291-6233 or 876-376-4225. Email sales@batvja.com.
The Good Life, your weekly dose of information on nutrition, wellness, and fitness. Discover ways to nurture your mind, body, and spirit.
I came back to Jamaica after my training in England, and I made a commitment that this is for me to look at our medicinal plants or identify those plants that are not medicinal plants to see if they can move into this area. And I think the first big breakthrough we had was the ball moss, old man's beard, which I think everybody heard about, because where it grows in other countries, it's seen as a nuisance, and people spend millions of dollars trying to control it, not realizing that it has all these interesting properties, which I was the first one to discover. Anti-cancer products, neurological problems it can deal with. But you see, what we don't remember or appreciate being non-scientists or being in that field, drug research and development is not cheap. You can find out what the products can do, but to take them where they can be approved by the FDA or others, it's not easy. One can millions of dollars to just get there, hundreds of millions of dollars. Matter of fact, to take a drug from discovery, first stage of discovery to market, it's usually between 1.5 and 2.5 billion US dollars. This is why pharmaceuticals are so expensive. But then you only need one hit, just one success, and you're all set for life, whether you're a company or you're an individual. I think you might have heard that I'm the first, and I stayed proudly, black person to have had, as a scientist, not working for another company, because I don't know about those, but I set up my own research and development labs and did all the work, and got the FDA to designate one of our products that we got as an orphan drug. So we're trying to finish that research work to take it to market. So it is amazing the sort of things that can be done with commitment and hard work. I'm heavily involved in looking at the medicinal cannabis, or medicinal ganja as we call it. And like any other thing, it's also hard work. I was part of a team with Professor Manley West, who did the first work and produced the first commercial compound from cannabis or ganja. And of course, Dr. Lockhart was involved in it. But the important thing here is that Jamaica set the stage from 1972 with this discovery and action, and we're ahead of everybody else. But as you know, the US government clamped down and everything was held back until I think about 8 to 10 years ago, when after CNN stories on the medicinal potential of cannabis, that everything was revived, and I was asked to get involved again, and I took on the leadership. And I think we are going to be having a launch of 12 products pharmaceutical products produced from cannabis, and I'm say proudly we're the only ones to have done it. Cancer in the early days when I started working in the field was mainly impacting older people. Not again, lots of youngsters. And I think if we can make a difference, that's what we want to do, and that's my commitment. And I have lost 3 of my siblings with cancer. So I have more than enough reason to go after it and try to fight it and eliminate it. I've seen a lot of friends and others who have gone down with it. And I think it's the biggest challenge mankind has faced and will ever face. Every indication is there that some of the research that I've done are highly likely to create cures for cancer. One example of this, the orphan drug, which was approved by the FDA, US FDA, is all about treating leukemia, its potential to be a drug for leukemia. And we are now working on getting another orphan drug. We're working with Harvard University now, and in a very interesting type of way, because they developed a technology where nanoparticles, these are particles that you can't see, they're so tiny, but they can do fantastic things. This is called nanotechnology. Now, they've modified the nanotechnology to the point where they can latch onto a drug and deliver the drug directly into the cancer, and it destroys the cancer and you get no side effects at all. We're cutting edge. We're working with Harvard University on this, and we call this the drone technology. Remote control, it takes it directly to the site function. That's something you're going to hear about, hopefully in the next 6 months. So we are not just doing little extractions, we are cutting edge science. And you see, a lot of these things Jamaica don't understand. We are not a country of science, and we don't embrace science and technology, so we don't know enough about it. But without seeming to be boasting, when I mentioned that FDA recognition for the orphan drug, there's no other, as I said it and I'll repeat, there's no other black person in the world who has ever achieved this. Not even a developing country. It's only North America and Europe where they've got these orphan drugs. So, you know, it's something that we don't even recognize, we don't know, we don't appreciate. But then maybe one of these days we will grow up to appreciate a little bit more. Eden Gardens was set up in 1992 to promote health and wellness. And when it was set up at first, my friends, my family, everybody, crazy, what are you wasting your money doing this on? Who knows about health and wellness, and why are you doing that?
Hello, my name is Blake Widmer. I'm the co-founder of Def Can Coffee. And the exposure that we had to the just general community through Business Access TV itself is awesome. It was a big deal for them, you know, having BATV come here, and we were with you guys for probably 4 hours that day. It was a long time. We really appreciate your guys' openness to recognize that, yeah, captions are important. If a deaf person's watching it, how are they gonna understand what's being said? So looking back is just a big boost, encouragement for our team. If you're a business or an organization that wants to have yourselves featured on BATV, or you want to do advertising with BATV, what I would tell them is that you guys listen well and you ask good questions, and that will help at the end of the day deliver a really good product for your business too.
Your business matters. Promote it on Business Access TV.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters.
Call us at 876-291-6233 or 876-376-4225. Email sales@batvja.com.
This is Caroline Smith, marketing implementer for Sol Western Caribbean for Shell Lubricants, and you're watching Business Access TV, and they are serious about business.
The fact of the matter is, most of what we use come from overseas. And I felt that if we could develop a range of cosmeceuticals, these are mainly things, cosmeceuticals, I said, cosmetics, skin care products, nutraceuticals, which are products that improves health through the types of food or medication that you can get, it would go a far way. So we developed a company and established a company called EG Wellness Brands. I don't know, some people know this, that the only company in the world that developed an instant porridge from sweet potato and yellow yam, we did it. And it's there doing very well out there. So it's that type of innovation that we have been looking at. And, you know, we have got a line of 12 teas that we develop, and the only line of what we call wellness teas. It's EG Wellness Brands teas that's there out there in the marketplace, doing well, export to North America and England. And what's even more, we have developed a number of medicinal plants we have identified and how they can be used, and clarified whether they are toxic or not, and so on. So it has opened up a whole new area of ID for us with our medicinal plants. We incidentally have 52% of all the medicinal established and recognized medicinal plants of the world, and we have not even started to exploit them. So Jamaica is blessed and we don't realize it. So I'm only hoping that what I've done with what I've done will be the baseline for others to build on, and we are hoping others will follow suit. And we're going to be soon, through the Biotech R&D Institute, be offering training programs that others can come in, because there's enough out there for everybody. One of my greatest pride and joy is to train young scientists so that they can go on and do some of what I've been doing or trying to do, because the matter of continuity is very important. Nobody can do everything in a lifetime, but you set the stage and have and hope others will take it on and take it forward. The other thing that I wanted to mention is Eden Gardens was set up in 1992 to promote health and wellness. And when it was set up at first, my friends, my family, everybody, crazy, what are you wasting your money doing this on? Who knows about health and wellness, and why are you doing that? And today, it's very successful. Matter of fact, we are looking at going to the stock market with it soon. And at Eden Gardens, we try to offer lifestyle and wellness services and products. We have 3 restaurants. We have got a spa. We are told we have the best spa in Jamaica, and it has all about innovations in spa therapy and what have you. We do a lot of weddings there. We have corporate functions. We have 3 restaurants, and we have a hotel where you can stay. We have 20 suites. And I could go on and on. So it's an oasis in its own way. And we are looking at spending more time and effort now to build out health and wellness tourism. We see ourselves as the leaders, and we are currently working on this. So when that new phase of tourism takes off, we will be in the leadership for that. Wealth to me is having enough financial resources to do the things that one would like to do whenever they wish to do it. That's my view of it. Is not having excess or being what people call rotten rich. No. I just having enough. If I can have enough financial resource to meet my needs, those I didn't say wants, my needs, I think I'm wealthy.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters.
Call us at 876-291-6233 or 876-376-4225. Email sales@batvja.com.
The Jamaica Stock Exchange wishes to help to develop the social sector. To that end, they have formed the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange, which is a safe, efficient, and transparent platform that aims to promote social projects that build Jamaica and will inure to the benefit of all persons living in the country.
The Jamaica Stock Exchange is a company that encourages and mobilizes capital for the main market. And that is the market that is not the social sector. Now, the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange is really geared towards the social sector to help to solve social problems in the field of health, education, about children, environment. Those are some of the things that we consider social problems. And so it is to mobilize the capital, allow persons who have a desire to invest in a social good, to invest in the social stock exchange. It is designed in two parts. In phase one, where we look at social investment, and phase two, where we look at social impact investment. Now, in phase one, really what we are saying is it is donation. An organization will have a social issue and design it into a project or a program and invite Jamaicans or persons within the diaspora or the entire world to fund this program. Now in phase two, you're going to get a return on investment which is not social. You will be getting shares, natural shares, as you would get if you invested in the Jamaica Stock Exchange. And what you'll get is a return on capital, which is possibly dividend or an appreciation in that share. The Jamaica Social Stock Exchange does more than ask for the funding of these programs, but goes beyond that in terms of monitoring, ensuring that these programs are meeting the targets and the reason for them to have asked for funding in the first place. When we look at this new sector, it is important because holistically, if you do not look on the social sector, you do not improve the other sectors. We want to encourage all businesses in Jamaica to have a corporate social responsibility because it is good for encouraging and the growth and development of businesses.
guys, I'm Candy and welcome to Chill Spot, Jamaica's ultimate leisure show. This season promises to reveal some of the hidden treasures of the lifestyle industry by taking you to the chill spots of some of Jamaica's most brilliant business minds, giving you a glimpse into how they choose to unwind and just hold a vibe. You won't want to miss what happens next. Stay tuned.
This week on Caring Hands. The Caribbean, a veritable paradise, home to a unique variety of flora and fauna. One of the world's greatest centers for endemic species and biodiversity. Local environmental and small community-based groups are playing a critical role in protecting and conserving this biodiversity by promoting sustainable livelihoods. Jamaica, Haiti, and the Dominican Republic are reaping the benefits of this approach. In Jamaica, the Southern Trelawney Environmental Agency STEO works to conserve and protect the cockpit country. One of the last remaining areas of undisturbed forest in the island, it supports the largest number of globally threatened species in the Caribbean.
Biodiversity is quite unique across cockpit country. And I'd say that all the species of Jamaican plants can be found in cockpit country. All the habitats of all the rare fauna, lizards, frogs, bird species are here. And the folk form and the culture of Maroon people spreads into this area.
The Windsor Research Center facilitates and conducts research on the cockpit country, the source of fresh water used by 40% of Jamaicans.
This is the Martha Brae. This is one of the important aspects of biodiversity that we need to highlight for conservation. The river is one of the 5 major rivers that flow out of cockpit country and supply the entire western part of Jamaica with fresh drinking water which is ready to drink right now. What's really important is to maintain the connectivity between the different areas of forest and river so that the animals and the plants that migrate and spread and reproduce are able to find their partners.
The Portland Bight Protected Area on the south coast has the largest intact area of mangrove forest in Jamaica. The wetlands and seagrass beds provide possibly the largest nursery habitat for sea life on the island. The Caribbean Coastal Area Management Foundation, CCAM, promotes sustainable development and coastal conservation in the Portland Bight area.
That includes communities from Hellshire in the east to just inside Milk River. So it includes places like Portland Cottage, Kemps Hill, Old Harbour Bay, Rocky Point, Lionel Town, and Salt River as well. Within the Portland Bight Protected Area, there are a number of important flora and fauna. Some of those include the iguana and the crocodile, as well as other plant species. There are a number of other important and special things that are within Portland Bight and not within the rest of Jamaica.
In the Dominican Republic, key biodiversity areas support the full range of Caribbean ecosystems and populations of 50 globally threatened species.
Bauruco es uno de los hotspots más importantes que tiene
la República Dominicana. Otra de la gran importancia que tiene la Sierra de Bauruco es que pertenece adentro de la Reserva de Biosfera. La Reserva de Biosfera está constituida por 3 parques nacionales, el Parque Nacional Jaragua, el Parque Nacional Sierra de Bauruco y el Parque Nacional Lago Enriquillo. Y es un lugar donde la biodiversidad y los diferentes ecosistemas de la isla confluyen, siendo la primera reserva de biosfera en la República Dominicana.
Parque Nacional Montaña Lomeadora es muy rico en biodiversidad, forma parte de lo que es llamado un corredor de biodiversidad que se ha llamado Región Fitogeográfica Casabito, desde Casabito hasta el sur, casi hasta el Parque Luis Quinn. En la zona hay muchas plantas endémicas, fundamentalmente, porque es una zona muy lluviosa, prácticamente la zona donde más llueve en el país. Muchas riquezas en plantas adaptadas a estas condiciones de lluvia y con algunos endemismos locales. En fauna hay el reporte de algunas aves importantes, hay nidificación de cotorra, de perico dentro del parque y poblaciones que se están monitoreando de los anfibios de la familia Ilidae que son endémicos del país.
But the fragile ecosystems of the islands are under threat.
We're currently on the Little Goat Island, which is next to the Great Goat Island. The Galleon Harbour Fish Sanctuary is in between and surrounding both of the islands. It is of importance because of its flora and fauna. In particular, right now we're talking about some of the mangrove areas. Some of the persons going to the mangroves are removing the mangroves without permits and without replanting.
You look at fish them there or Goat Island around them barn and run. No fish no left from foreign now coming in a Goat Island. Because Goat Island surrounding like a pond. The whole of them the fish that breed up around there. So around the way as the little skull boat man, small engine man we can't go out in the deep. Around there we fishing. You understand? So them try to take a Goat Island for a boy, we don't know, it's terrible.
If we look at the planning policies within Jamaica, sometimes we're saying that a development is more important than conserving the environment, and sometimes the trade-off is not sufficient to conserve what it is that we have.
If they were to look at bauxite mining or limestone mining as potential areas of revenue generation for the state economy, then that would result in a policy that allows for prospecting licenses to mine. And if people came and found bauxite in the unique locations in Cockpit Country, anything in there that is part of the species population would be destroyed.
Coming up on Caring Hands.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters.
Call us at 876-291-6233 or 876-376-4225. Email sales@batvja.com.
In this 1 degree, you're able to do many things.
I think the field found me.
I'd rather work with the deceased than work with the living.
Let us open your mind to careers you've never considered.
Manager, model maker,
Game technician,
animator,
with empowerment.
Career moves.
Anywhere money is, that's where I am.
I started out selling out of the trunk of my car.
If everybody think the same way, everybody going in the same line.
Being an entrepreneur takes everything that you've got.
Weekends? What's weekends? We work on a weekend.
There are real opportunities everywhere you look.
But you have to have the passion.
If I do my part well, then everything is okay.
We believed in ourselves and our families believed in us.
Being convinced of this great opportunity, why we are all here doing what we're doing now.
This is Caroline Smith, Marketing Implementer for Sol Western Caribbean for Shell Lubricants, and you're watching Business Access TV, and they are serious about business.
In Haiti, 99% of the original forest cover has been lost, leaving unique species at risk in key biodiversity areas.
Forêt des pins son concept pour lui environ 78. Son côté nous te gagné 32 000 hectares. Parce que là où c'est nos zones tampon, mais couvrir des toits là pour attaquer forêt. Ça veut dire ou pas faire 2 minutes là pour attaquer forêt. Ça veut dire là nous préparer forêt. Depuis que nous des tout là, on a forêt des pins. Forme tout ça et kounya là et dans détruire des forêts nous là kounya là t'a senti ou frise là. Ça a l'intention de détruire des forêts et forme tout ça dans 32 000 hectares de terre kounya là pas qu'à joindre 6 000 bien reboisés dans terre. Parce que ouais, spécialement kounya là où t'as prêté l'autre dans bail c'est fait bois peur. Et spécialement ça rend que et les comme ça tout nous on l'appli et ça rend que nous avons désolosement en pile mais rêve nous objectif nous comme nous même en tant qu'organisation c'est à reboiser forêt des pins mettre dans soin qui était arrivé et démobiliser forêt des pins déboisement qui part était nous bien pour communauté.
On dirait que ça arrive souvent tout le temps parce que forêt a envahi et mon sorti de l'autre côté qui vient envahir forêt pour faire jardin. Ça veut dire ça arrive très souvent nous joindre mon à couper bois, à faire jardin dans la forêt, à craser forêt. Parfois nous parlons avec le sac pour arrêter d'arrêter.
Toute espèce de bête mais à cause de déboisement ils détruit. En gros, nous avons une série de formes de les musiciens. Leur passer en dedans forêt à son plaisir. Pour les musiciens, ça va chanter. Mais nous avons ramier les concerts là, tant que les gens en température là, nous avons ramier à chanter. Mais à cause de nous venons perdre, nous sommes obligés à vivre sur le territoire dominicain.
Las amenazas que tiene Sierra de Bauruco son varias. Estas amenazas son varias, principalmente la extracción de maderas, la realización de carbón, la recolección de pichones de cotorra. Hemos podido disminuir estas amenazas prácticamente en un 80%.
La situación en el Parque Nacional Sierra de Bauruco, en la frontera especialmente, pues era totalmente caótica porque usted podía contar hasta 30 y 40 hornos de carbón a la orilla del camino. Pero después de llegar a la Sociedad Ornitológica, el proyecto, a este lugar pues ha ido disminuyendo con el apoyo que ellos nos han brindado.
Conversion of the forests for agricultural purposes is also a threat to biodiversity.
La humeadora tuvo muchos problemas desde el punto de vista de agricultura, de extracción de madera y siembra, sobre todo agricultura para la siembra de café y en gran parte ganadería.
A farmer will be farming on one plot for a year, 2 years, and fertility of the soil decreases for whichever crop he or she is planting. And one of the first considerations is to shift the production from one location to a new location. So in shifting, he's removing all of that forest cover to facilitate his agricultural production. In so doing, he's removing the biological diversity. He is shrinking the size of the forest overall.
In Haiti, local organizations are educating the community on the impact of deforestation and engaging them in reforestation efforts.
Nous-mêmes qui ça nous fait en tant qu'organisation, c'est mobiliser les paysans, aider aux formation et que tant que j'en absolu là quand on arrive là quand moi là on va me gagner en pile chance c'est reproduire bois ba au conseil qui importance gain et c'est celle site là nous-mêmes c'est celle boss avec qui ba bien si ou je tirer ça c'est ba formation aider au former au dire qui importance et nous changer tout comment formuler nous avec rendre déboiser détruit dans qui état que nous venir en tant qu'organisation et
l'organisation par exemple c'est au BATV, nous faisons reboisement, nous plantons bois, nous faisons formation avec l'organisation, dans l'église nous faisons formation pour nous expliquer ça comment on pied boyer, combien de monde il aussi. D'après l'environnement de
nous couper bois tout. Oui. Parce que nous vivons dans une zone, nous pas gain réchaud gaz, nous pas de chaud courant. C'est avec bois, nous couper, nous servir, nous faire manger. Et lit tout, nous faire caille, nous rester parce que nous pas des fois pas gain quantité quoi pour acheter fer, pour acheter aussi pour construire un caille. Là où il y a besoin en pied, vous pied, vous faire poteau, vous faire porte caillou, vous faire chambon là dans l'air, vous rester.
Et nous essayons de planter.
Nous essayons de planter.
Dans l'organisation femme, moi juste, moi demande mesdames yo, pas couper pied bois, pas quitter messieurs yo ba yo casé. Parce que une activité bois pain. Mesdames yo transmettre à Port-au-Prince. Gek dans l'organisation. Et puis là m'a fait formation, là m'a entré dans concession, m'a dit côté grand papa nous yo va aller. Je dis oui, me dit bon n'a vendre chandelle. Si n'a vendre chandelle là, c'est comme si c'est mon nan k'ap kaze ba non, c'est nous voyer le kaze. Ou pas aller, mais de pour voir un monde c'est où qui cause. Vous comprenez? Mesdames yo cible yo non pas couper pied bois tout, mais yo manqué sensibiliser.
Pour y aller nous venir dans pour y aller dans pays nous était kounya d'après là d'accord ça. Et kounya nous tenons noir kounya nous dans lumière. Nous une organisation kounya nous consacrer les fruits, le reboisement, nous connaît environnement. Inspiré pour nous.
Qui ça nous devait faire? C'était jouer une sémence. Jouer nos moyens, un projet qui a projeté nous, demander nous pour nous faire le boisement. Et nous avons fait avec Timoun l'école. Ça te porté attention, je vais créer l'école, ça me déroule le des verres de Carole. Moi, je sacré et je mes pieds bois en pile, moi, mes environnement.
In the Dominican Republic, local organizations join forces with international agencies like the Critical Ecosystem Partnership Fund, CEPF, to improve the management of key biodiversity areas.
Al inicio del proyecto con el CPF solamente había un administrador. ¿Y ahora qué tenemos? Tenemos 14 personas que están trabajando en el área protegida distribuido en todas partes. Es decir, en las 3 provincias y en los 5 municipios que bordean el área protegida. Esos guardaparques, además de la formación que tienen, tradicional, formal, del Ministerio de Ambiente, conozcan el vínculo y la importancia de trabajar con las comunidades.
Y yo soy inspector general de caza y pesca. Trabajo también en medio ambiente. Oiga, yo cuido las aguas, las aves, los árboles. Yo aquí no pueden pasar con madera por ahí, no, porque parece ahí, donde las cortaste, qué pasó, eso tú sabes. Si tumbamos esos palos, esos árboles, tumbamos todo, las aguas se secan las aguas. Y aquí nosotros somos ricos de agua, que la gente ha creado conciencia.
La juventud se ha visto muy interesada y con muchas ganas de ser partícipe también y de lograr una diferencia en cuanto a la gestión y qué yo estoy haciendo por cuidar mi medio ambiente, que al final de cuentas es de lo que yo voy a vivir.
Esos jóvenes van a llevar luego mañana en su conciencia las cosas que deben hacer sobre los recursos naturales y qué no deben hacer.
¿Quién es la biodiversidad?
Nosotros mismos. Una de las estrategias que he diseñado ProNatura para construir la sostenibilidad de los procesos es trabajar con las escuelas. Trabajar con las escuelas, con los maestros, con los directores y con los niños. Los niños ayudan a que otros niños se comuniquen entre sí, puedan hablar de qué es eso de la biodiversidad, qué es eso de la humeadora.
Nos dijeron de la humeadora, que cómo era, y nos dijeron también, y eso fue muy lindo, y nos dijeron también que si nos gustaría aprender a hablar con cámara, y nosotros dijimos que sí y nos enseñaron.
Tuvimos lo que fue tirándole a foto a las plantas, a los animales y a las flores. Estuvimos trabajando con la universidad y la montaña humeadora, que es un parque donde la nube nunca se aleja.
Cuando CPF patrocina a estas casi 19 proyectos y un tanto como más de 12 organizaciones aquí en la República Dominicana, estamos promoviendo de que la gente conserve para sí misma. La gente está hablando, trabajando, dialogando y viendo cómo consiguen soluciones en conjunto para la conservación de la biodiversidad.
Coming up on Caring Hands.
started out selling out of the trunk of my car.
If everybody think the same way, everybody going in the same line.
Being an entrepreneur takes everything that you've got. Weekends? What's weekends? We work on a weekend.
There are real opportunities everywhere you look.
But you have to have the passion.
If I do my part well, then everything else will play.
We believed in ourselves and our families believed in us.
Being convinced of this great opportunity, why we are all here doing what we're doing now.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters.
Call us at 876-291-6233 or 876-376-4225. Email sales@batvja.com.
The Good Life, your weekly dose of information on nutrition, wellness, and fitness. Discover ways to nurture your mind, body, and spirit. Cameo takes you behind the scenes of Jamaica's exploding creative industries to give you an insider's look at how creatives get the job done.
I'm really picky about how we treat our customers.
As creative people, we went a little bit over the top.
Each week, we interview innovators leading the charge in their industry. The chaos of creativity meets the stricture of structure on Business Access TV's Cameo.
The Caribbean Coastal Area Management Foundation, CCAM, assists members of the community to engage in income-generating activities through alternative livelihoods so that they can continue to survive in a changing environment.
We have had conservation officers and worked with the community to create fish sanctuaries, and therefore we are increasing the catch for the fishermen in the future. We're also working with other persons in terms of doing environmental education. We're also doing a certain level of climate change education as well. We have done a number of mangrove restoration projects. We are also in the process of building a wetlands interpretation center in Salt River. We had some funding from the National Environment and Planning Agency, and we have trained some of the fishermen along with some community persons as tour guides and as boat operators. And what we're seeing is that there are a number of visitors who have never seen the crocodile, and they will pay money to come on boat tours to see crocodiles and to have that experience. So we think that conserving them is an important way of improving their livelihoods.
In order to improve the biodiversity of the cockpit country, STEA seeks to decrease livelihood activities that are destructive while providing alternative income-generating opportunities for community members.
Well, this is a yam field. This is our yam field. This is where we do it. We use this method to stop the farmers from cutting a lot of stick from the cockpit here.
Yam production in cockpit country on the southeastern side, for the most part, on gentle to steep slopes. So we have mitigated by introducing the establishment of vegetative barriers across the slope to prevent the soil from running down. So we have done about 2,000 farmers trained in that method and provided technical assistance and material to about 400 farmers to engage in this kind of activity to mitigate against the erosion of soil, which is a part of what supports the biological diversity here. We have started an ecotourism program that is both ecological tourism and community tourism. And what it is it looks at caves.
Welcome to the Cockpit Country Cave Exploration. We are about to enter the subterranean world of the caving environment.
The Cockpit Country has about 300 of Jamaica's 500 caves. And we have made an attraction out of one cave. It serves several purposes. It provides an income for the community through the amount of people who are employed, who service the product or the attraction with many services. It provides us with some generated income to promote the conservation. And significantly, it allows us to demonstrate the appropriate way to access these kinds of communities safely, so you don't reduce the populations in there of the bats, which are quite significant.
We actually do use our cave here at Windsor. We do use it for ecotourism. Okay, so this is the mouth of the Windsor Cave. It's the lower entrance, and it's one of the exits through which rat bats come out at night. It's quite small, as you can see, about 4 foot wide and 5 foot high. And even from here, I can feel the cool draft coming out. It's our local air conditioning unit. But you can see the vines and things hanging down. And quite often we get snakes hanging at the entrance of the cave too, trying to catch a meal for the night.
Franklin Taylor, also known as Dango, is the warden for the Windsor Cave.
I'm taking care of the Windsor Cave for many years. And I also take people to the cockpit country. If they want to hike to the mountain, I took them out there and take the best care of them and bring them back. Many years I'm right here, but I love to do my farming in the meanwhile. Yeah, this is the year what I work. I cultivate my banana and plantain, yams, and chocho, and these are red peas. When I'm not farming, like I keep the road to the cave clean and see that the cave is okay.
The Cockpit Country Local Forest Management Committee allows the people of the Cockpit Country communities to take charge of their own environment.
Up at the Southwest branch, we have a really good project going at Flagstaff, which is the Flagstaff Heritage Trail. It's a really important part of Cockpit Country's cultural history, because Cockpit Country was the home of the Maroons. Flagstaff is part of the economic sustainability of the local forest management committees, generating income for the people, but also giving some of the benefits to the local forest management committee itself for other activities.
Behind that over there, the British have a well that they build here. I am a tour guide. We have 14 certified tour guides from the TD PICO office here. This is the visitor center, which part we deal with our ecotourism system. We have this as a sustainable livelihood project to generate jobs, to graft to this instead of to graft to the forest. Because we have to keep the forest, sustain the forest and protect the forest, because it's our environment in which give us all our watershed and so many other little things.
Conservation is a sustainable way of life. You need to know what resources you have. There are some that are renewable, you can take them out and they come back. There are others, once you take them out, they're gone.
The Caribbean is a unique center of biodiversity, blessed with an abundance of natural resources, but threatened by the demands of a growing population. In Jamaica, Haiti, and the Dominican Republic, local groups encourage best practices and sustainable livelihoods, bringing people together to protect and conserve their environment.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters.
Call us at 876-291-6233 or 876-376-4225. Email sales@batvja.com.
In this 1 degree, you're able to do many things.
I think the field found me.
I'd rather work with the deceased than work with the living.
Let us open your mind to careers you've never considered.
Miniature model maker.
Game technician.
Animator.
Good job. Empowerment.
Career moves.
Anywhere money is, that's where I am.
I started out selling out of the trunk of my car.
If everybody think the same way, everybody going in the same line.
Being an entrepreneur takes everything that you've got. Weekends? What's weekends? We work on a weekend.
There are real opportunities everywhere you look.
But you have to have the passion.
If I do my part well, then everything is okay.
We believed in ourselves and our families believed in us.
Being convinced of this great opportunity, why we are all here.